One more inverse that is a little bit more challenging to solve. Write this down in your notebook. This is part of notes from today. So I'm going to change my x's and y's. That makes this x. And that would be y minus 2 over 3 times y plus 1. To get y by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by 3y plus 1. Now I'm going to distribute the x. And now I'm going to get all my y terms on one side and all my non-y terms on the other side. So I'm going to subtract y from both sides. And I'm going to subtract x from both sides. At this point, I'm going to factor out a y. And then all I'll have to do is divide both sides by 3x minus 1. And now I know what my inverse function is. However, I do not yet know. What my range and domain are. To do this with rational functions, I'm going to look at my original function and decide what the domain and range are. And my domain will not allow me to have 0 in the denominator, so that means that 3x plus 1 has to not equal 0. So solving this, that would be 3x is not equal to negative 1, or x is not equal to negative 1/3. So my interval notation would be from negative infinity to negative 1/3, exclude that, and then from 1/3 to positive infinity. The range is harder to figure out. In order to figure out the range, we're going to look at the inverse function. In my inverse function, I can tell right away that I would need to exclude values that make this denominator 0. Values that make that denominator 0 are 1/3. X cannot be equal to 1/3, which means that my domain is going to be from negative infinity to 1/3 union 1/3 to positive infinity. This domain has to match the range of my original function. The range of my original function, therefore, is negative infinity to 1/3 union 1/3 to positive infinity. Now this range, my domain of my original function is going to match the range of my inverse. So in the range of my inverse, I have to exclude negative 1/3. And there you have it. So two things to consider. One, when you have something where you're solving with two y variables on the right-hand side, you have to multiply both sides by your denominator, you have to distribute, and then you have to separate the y terms from the non-y terms, factor out a y, and then divide. We find the domain and the range by doing the domain of each, both the function and the inverse function, and then matching up the domain of the function with the range of my inverse, and the domain of the inverse with the range of the function. With rational functions, this will always work. Otherwise, you really should typically start with the initial function, but because I'm giving you ones that work, it will be fine. All right, so there you go. Enjoy your homework. Have a nice day.